This is a replacement stream for the multiplayer playthrough that I did for this game. This isn't going to have any real notes. I just wanted to just point out some tonal differences and some kind of just things they provide in the multiplayer, things they sell for the multiplayer that directly relates to the campaign, and specifically in regards to the portrayal of Middle Eastern people, the antagonists in the game, so on and so forth. So this is the first Call of Duty game that hasn't had a season pass. Traditionally, in every Call of Duty game, Activision sells a season pass, which allows you to play on the DLC maps, or they just sell map packs individually. You can either pay, I don't know, around $30 to $40 for the season pass, which gives you every map pack, or you pay, $15, $10 for each individual map pack. This has splintered the Call of Duty fan base in the past and has made the multiplayer kind of fractured, and it has made those DLC maps, hard to play because you don't get in the lobbies with them. So, because of Fortnite, they instead implemented a battle pass system to supplement the game and pursue development continuously, because obviously they don't have the money to keep development up on this after the initial sales. That is entirely sarcastic. They made a shit ton of money from this. I think it is like every single year Call of Duty comes out, they break more and more and more records sales-wise. So I'm just going to point out some things. First off, let me talk about the operators. So Call of Duty recently, in the last 5, 10, 6 years, instead of giving you a player model based on the weapon you're using or the class you're running, like your loadout, you get to choose your operator. In other Call of Duty games, it's had gameplay ramifications, but here it's entirely visual. I mean, there is some gameplay ramifications. As you can tell, some of these characters blend into the environment better and will blend into the environment better once we hop in. And they tonally fit the game a little bit better, but Call of Duty has been heavily criticized for selling skins of military soldiers in a 420 weed outfit, or robot warriors and things like that, things that totally don't fit the game really, because they're skins. People love colorful looking skins that sell for a lot. Yeah. I just wanted to show the operators in this game and just have a discussion. So the coalition is basically Call of Duty always has almost always has an Op 4 and the opposition force, and then the protagonist team. Basically, in Call of Duty 4, the protagonist team was either your models in the game would either be the Marines, the British SAS, combination of the two. Moving forward in other Call of Duty games, it was whatever tier 1 operators you were, Task Force 141, whatever, plot, device, good guys. Those character models, they were racially diverse. They were characters of different ethnicities, mostly white though. And then there's the opposition force, which in Call of Duty games has usually either been Russians or Middle Eastern people. Yeah. Starting with Black Ops 1, they kind of solidified a general look for the two teams. They had a more, instead of just Op 4 and protagonist team, it was this basically red and blue. The aesthetics in Black Ops 1 reflected your loadout. Characters who had a loadout set for speed and agility had lighter gear on the model. Characters who had, say, explosive resistance had body armor on. You could tell what a player was running, and it had gameplay ramifications visually of what their character looked like. And the fact that players shared the same models on either teams was ramified by the fact that aim assist only works on enemies, so you can use the aim assist to tell whether a player is an enemy or not, as well as the fact that your teammates always have a blue name tag above their head. The blue name tag shows up in all game modes, even hardcore mode, which cuts out the HUD. Then I think with Modern Warfare 3, I want to say, or Call of Duty Ghosts, I'm not sure. That's when they started selling skins for the players. And these were things like just camouflages, different colored camouflages that were brightly colored and didn't fit tonally. And throughout the years, it's gotten more and more ridiculous. I'm pretty sure Call of Duty World War II, which did again market itself as a historically accurate and gritty game, had soldiers with missing limbs and prosthetics that somehow still allowed them to fight, which tonally for the time just didn't exist. That might have been Battlefield. No, I think that was World War II as well. They had like colorful face paint on that no soldier would have actually gone into war with. Modern Warfare started off with the same operator system where each team, uh, by default, had a variety of skins you could choose. However, these skins were not purchasable. These skins were given as a rewards for completing the campaign, completing the cooperative campaign, or hitting specific milestones in the multiplayer, which was cool. It was a way to incentivize player progression throughout these modes, but um, moving forward, I don't have the chat on, so if you're sending messages in the chat, I'm sorry. um, yeah. So here, as the game, however, progressed through its life cycle, Activision wanted money, so they started selling skins in their battle pass, or they started selling them in the store. So the thing is, you can choose a different model. So this is the coalition, which is basically the protagonists of the game. Most of these operators were included from the jump. This character, Thorn, Charlie, these are just different models of people in, the first section. They're segmented by the people they work for. SAS is implied to be the British SAS that you play as. Then there's the Demon Dogs, which I assume are U.S. Marines. That guy's a Texas patch on him. All of these skins are still slightly stylized, and if you go to customize, the basic ones that they gave you when the game came out were just recolors, different colored T-shirts, different colored clothing. So the protagonists all basically are in military gear. They're of a variety of ethnicities and genders, which is cool. It's interesting. But some do look unrealistic. I mean, specifically the ones that they sold. This man specifically, I don't know what tactical advantage a furry leather vest gives. Dude looks like an Urban Outfitters model. But like Domino, she came with the game. She looks realistic. She's, a French soldier. Warcom, I think, is supposed to be just an amalgamation of other Western forces, almost entirely. Golem is another one that came with the game. Mara was one of the ones they sold. And she still aesthetically fits the game. It's just now that we're on season 3, more and more rambunctious skins have been sold. Wyatt is another one that looks realistic. He's Australian, I think. Ronin is he's American. I think he's not the first Asian one. There was another Asian operator in this, but they also sell him. And then Alex from the campaign is one. Specifically, he's sold in the battle pass, and I mean, I made comments in the campaign about Alex's how he was portrayed as this very marketable, attractive white dude you can buy. Spoilers for the campaign: he sacrifices his life, but they revealed in the multiplayer that he survived by selling him for $10. And he has a prosthetic leg. Apparently, getting blown up in a factory makes you only lose your leg. And then they have Ghost, which is tactical as hell. He wears this incredibly funny ghost 3-dimensional bumpy mask on his face, which is just weird. Let me turn on let me turn on chat notifications. View comments. Any comments in the chat? Because I tweet out this link every single time, and since this is a remake, I mean, I might as well just focus on the chat. Because PlayStation is struggling with showing the chat messages. I swear, this VOD doesn't save. I'm gonna get so mad. I've tried so hard for this. Yeah, the advanced settings, audio sharing, comments to speech. Cool. I had comments to speech, so I can hear you guys now. Yeah, so they sell, like, Ghost just looks incredibly unrealistic. Sure, his lower half could be seen as realistic, but you can tell he's British. He has an incredible amount of tactical gear that isn't reflected in the gameplay. The fact that he has a grenade, a handgun, a smoke grenade, radio, none of that has gameplay ramifications. If anything, it kind of obscures gameplay. His figure, he has a chunkier model, which means he's easier to shoot and easier to see. He's a returning character from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which is interesting because this is not a remake of that game specifically. It's a remake of that game's predecessor. So seeing them include him is just more nostalgia bait. They want to sell this, in this case, the Battle Pass, so they included him because he was a fan favorite. And they did sell, if you bought the remastered campaign for that game, they sold you his skin from that game, so you can actually dress up as Ghost from that game. I should probably play that too. So then there's the allegiance, which is the term for the uh, God, it's the term for the this skin is ridiculous. It's the term for basically the Eastern forces in this game, which includes the Russians, the Jackals, which is supposed to be Al-Qatala forces, and some others, and then the Milsim, which is I don't think yeah, okay. So for the Western forces, Milsim is basically models based on realistic military forces, military simulation, and you can see there's country flags denoting which country each of these people are from, and they're dressed as like police forces from these countries, military forces, like these three this is a counter-terrorist force from Japan, not from the UK. Sorry, this is from Korea. This is, I think, a military like a soldier, and it's interesting because this is them trying to push like we take this seriously. This is like a realistic game, so let's include actual representation of like straight up forces. I'm sure if you Google these, you'll be able to like see USEF stands for whatever, and there's a lot. They also sell finishing moves, which is like graphic deaths. You could buy these. The reason there's none in here is because I haven't bought any. I don't have that kind of money, and nor do I want to sell them. Going back to like the Western forces, they also sell. These are the skins that came with the battle pass. Some of them, like this, doesn't make any sense. He has this red camouflage that wouldn't make sense in real life. It's incredibly bright. He's wearing the ripped jeans that Alex wore. I think it's the same exact model for his lower half. And they sell this. It's part of. It could be part of the battle pass or something. Charlie doesn't have any. They sell. It's interesting that like some of these characters don't have any battle pass skins. Fall does, and his is a Texas cop in dress suit slacks. Border war. Fuck ice. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's. I didn't notice this last time. This is disgusting. Yeah, they literally let you play as a police officer. They sell this as a feature, and I thought it was funny because it was a dude in a cowboy hat. But like when I saw it in the multiplayer, but like, god damn, they sell this. They basically sell these, and some of these are free, like. Which I've been able to get for free, so like that's why I had that one. Counter terrorists, like these jungle terror, night raid, like those names are just. Ugh. Say if we look at the allegiance, the Milsim doesn't have anything. Since they don't want they acknowledge that the coalition is it's just Western forces, probably NATO. I don't know who's in NATO, but they acknowledge the fact that like okay, these are Western forces or forces that comply with the West, starting with America. Let's include their realistic depictions, but they don't do that for the allegiance because the allegiance are heavily implied or just basically said, because it's happened like this in every single Call of Duty. The team that's not the West, they're usually the antagonists. So here we have, it seems like an Asian man, or maybe like South Russian. I think that's Russian on his vest. This is the Milsim operator. We don't know who he is. I think they're implying that he's a mercenary. My cat is right there. He might knock over the camera. And again, he has a finishing move. And then starting forward, they outright say that, the first one is the Spetsnaz, which is, a real Russian military group. So they're heavily implying that these are all Russian people, Russian soldiers, who are the bad guys in this game. And because the Russians are the bad guys in this game, it basically solidifies the allegiance as the bad team. And this doesn't exclude them from selling skins. So this skin in particular, if you remember the hometown mission, this exact model is the model of the soldier who tried to murder Farah and her brother in Farah's house. He's the man that killed Farah's father. He's an incredibly murderous, ravenous, evil person. In the game, through his dialogue, depicts him as like literally horrible. he spurs Farah's entire character development. As a little girl, the murder of her father made her this bloodlusty soldier trying to free her country, and caused Hadir to use chemical weapons. Like, this starts his obviously it can be inferred that like the main antagonists caused that, but this man specifically did the actions that caused that. He was the force that enacted those antagonist will. And he's a skin in the multiplayer that you can customize. And they sell skins for him too, I'm pretty sure. I just don't have any unlocked. But like it's ridiculous that tonally you could play as him. And not only that, when you're playing the Battle Royale, he has like badass lines like dropping here or ammo here and things like that in his accent that you can play as. He's not even you can see how big his arms are. Like, he looks like a Gears of War character. It's goofy. And it's totally so weird. And look at these names. Sun Out, Beach Day. Like, he tried to kill children. There's more. Riot. He seems like a riot cop. The rest of these, like, he's a skinnier version of the first dude, basically, aesthetically. The gun they're holding is just my class in multiplayer, so ignore that. This guy, I don't even know. He looks like a character from Battlefield 1. Covered in this, and he has like, it seems like a nighttime operation. I feel like this is just the Allegiance equivalent of the Ghost skin. It's really interesting to note. I believe the marks on his skin are like I may be entirely wrong, but I think certain African tribes use that as like I'm not sure if they're scarring or tattoos or a combination of the two to, you know, just depict certain members of a certain status in a tribe. And I think some media properties count each of those as a kill that a soldier or warrior in the tribe has done. I think Black Panther, Killmonger, in that had similar markings on his skin. So I think they're implying that this guy is from that region and has killed a lot of people. And he has the same mask as Ghost, which is, I mean, they just wanted to have that cool analog for this team as well. And then here is Azur. He's the guy I play as, because, yeah, irony. He is outright your stereotypical terrorist. He has that scarf. He has the huge beard, bushy eyebrows, big nose, head wrapping, like he's in the desert or like built to withstand sandstorms. And again, they have skins for him. Urban assault, smoked, like implying that like he basically he is a terrorist. That's what they're saying. Like, I'm spinning him around. Like, he has a pit on Tambon under his jacket. Like, god damn. Like, he's clearly a Middle Eastern person. And I'm not saying that this depiction is incorrect. Including a Middle Eastern character is cool. Someone who's visibly from the Middle East. I can appreciate that. But the fact that they consciously put the only visibly Middle Eastern person in this entire multiplayer segment on the antagonist team using such a stereotypical portrayal is just kind of, it's so gross. Then we have Grinch. I don't know anything about Grinch. He just looks like another tactical person. Same with Zane. Like, he looks like, I don't know, like a World War II fighter pilot with a cape. I don't know why he has a cape. What's the tactical like use of a cape? Also note that this team's called the Jackals, which I mean, seeing the fact that it's the mixture of ethnicities and like the kind of all over the place aesthetics of this team, you can't really pinpoint them. So I'm just gonna assume they're supposed to be mercenaries. And then we have Chimera, and these are also kind of all over the place. Jaeger, Kruger, Sid, and Iskra. It's so. Jaeger is the funniest, and because he has a tracksuit. He's the Russian stereotype of a Russian guy in a tracksuit. He looks visibly Eastern European, and he's wearing like an Adidas tracksuit. And then they sold skins of him not wearing a shirt. Because that makes sense. He has bright green tennis shoes. Jaeger's thief-in-law. Give only your name, rank, and serial number. Like, what? They even have like cool little taglines to sell these skins. He has his own finishing move as well. I think that is not... If this game is trying to portray itself as a serious, gritty shooter, like a military shooter, why are you putting a dude in an Adidas tracksuit? Then there's Kruger, tactical. I think this is the Dutch special forces. I think it's Dutch. They have these face coverings to hide them, hide their identities. Sid, I don't know what country Sid's from. Her depiction is it's cool. Uh, Iskra, I don't. I I think she looks a little like southeastern European or Eastern European, like maybe like Croatia, somewhere along those regions. The fact that she has a headscarf is interesting. Uh, Maybe it's to conceal her identity. She also does look a little Middle Eastern, like Persian a little bit aesthetically, and it's the fact that they give her a headscarf but still have her. Uh, tr- they still kind of include the fact that they include somebody in a headscarf implying that they're Muslim fighting. And I mean, Islam is not a combative religion. I know that. The entire concept of jihad is holy war, which is just protecting your lands and your people. It's since of the mixture of regions for Chimera and ethnicities, I'm going to assume these are also mercenaries. Why would she be a mercenary? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't match with their political beliefs. I'm not saying people who are Muslim can't, give and take in some things because religion is an iffy subject. People are all over the place in the way they express their religions. But the fact that they sell this skin, she's only exclusively like for sale. For a woman in a headscarf is just so strange. It makes me feel uncomfortable. It genuinely makes me feel a little uncomfortable. The fact that you have to buy the skin to play what I assume is a Muslim woman killing people. Not saying like same with fucking Azur. Like he looks like a Muslim man killing people. At least his portrayal is a stereotypical one. Like I could see why they do it, but I can't see why they do Iskra. I mean, cool. I guess a Muslim woman can play this game and be like, "Damn, I'm in it. I can kill people." Yikes. Yeah. Let's take a look at the store. So you can see this is where their graphic design budget is gone. They sell like a lot of skins, weapon skins, and blueprints with unique camos. They
Fuck off now.
You can get edgy lines for your character. You can buy watches for your wrist, knife skins, charms that hang off your gun. There's nothing that's tactical about this. This is a tchotchke that you spend $24 on. That's the conversion rate for this. It's 100 points is equal to $1. And then like an edgy watery emblem for your like little calling card whenever you get a kill. Anime Express. Oh my, this is like notorious. This isn't even the only like anime related like aesthetics they sell. Like it's a bright pink gun. This is not realistic. This is not, if they're trying to make a gritty shooter, why are you selling this? Cuteness reload. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want these skins because they're so funny. And then they sell a body pillow, an anime body pillow, which the stereotypes of anime body pillows is usually just really lonely incels, and the fact that they're selling this indirectly kind of marketing I feel like it's marketing towards that, like towards incels. They even sell a giant and note there's no like edgy anime men on here. It's just women depicted on these skins. Yikes. Yeah, they also sell guns that shoot tracers. This is like an Irish themed one. I don't know, if I was Irish I would know how I would feel about this, being able to buy a leprechaun. This is specifically for Jaeger. TF-141, yeah. So Task Force 141 was the main protagonist group from Modern Warfare 2, the sequel. So they're selling more skins for that game, and the bodysuit on this is, if I remember correctly, there's a mission in Modern Warfare 2 where you infiltrated an oil rig, but you came in so you needed like a dive suit. So this is probably just them like getting the assets they made for that and just reusing them and selling it. Dragon's Breath. Oh my god. Yeah, it's a shotgun that uses Dragon's Breath round, and you see what I mean. A lot of this is just cool, edgy, aesthetic looking things that they sell for like $10-$20, which does not totally fit in with the game at all. The anime one was like was the most edgy. This is like a Suicide Squad-esque aesthetic. Not saying that the aesthetic in that movie was kind of cool. It looks cool. The costume design was cool, but it does not fit in a serious military shooter. Because this is not a serious military shooter, is my point. Let me get to actually playing the game. So, I mean, my operator, I'm gonna choose. Where's student? Yeah, Zor. I'm gonna play free for all. Actually, no, I'm gonna play. Hopefully, we get into a new game. If not, that's. I'm gonna play some team deathmatch actually. Hopefully, we get into a new game, so we can see the starting animation. But if not, it's fine. These are my classes. So you can choose what guns you start off with, and you give yourself these supernatural abilities called perks. For some reason, you can run more because you have a specific patch on this thing. On some tactical gear. This is their visual representation of this in the class selection screen. Like, the different patches give you these special powers. You get different kill streaks. Because apparently in this game, they basically say that the more people you kill, the more the ordnance you can call in, airstrikes, things of that nature, UAVs. Some of these are like not even realistic. Being able to see mines through walls, being able to see footprints bright red. It's like like this makes sense. Like, you can actually have gear in real life that maybe can mitigate the effects of like an explosion, but being able to see people's footsteps isn't. So this is Piccadilly, the map that we played previously, where there was a terrorist attack. Let me mute everybody. Yeah, the map that had a terrorist attack previously is a multiplayer map. So first off, aesthetics. This is a gun that was part of the battle pass, so like you could buy things for this gun. You could buy these skins. You're playing in a place that in the campaign had a terrorist attack that probably killed dozens of people. And there's the guy from that campaign mission. People jumping around with shotguns, shooting other people. Like, you can see this. Like, it's coated in red. It's a destroyed place. They don't have any civilian corpses here, which might have been a performance thing, but also just a tonal thing. It'd be kind of messed up to be fighting around dead civilians. But this is heavily implied to be Piccadilly after it was attacked by Al-Qatala. And I'm part of the coalition right now. That's why I have a British person as my operations leader, and we're fighting the Allegiance, which is the bad guys. You can see some of these skins, like, that is not realistic. That is, like... There's the dude without a shirt on. God damn. There's an airstrike we called in. Like, tonally, it's so out of place. Because these are the exact same models in buildings and structures used in the Piccadilly mission. I think the lighting is a bit different for player visibility. But, like... Also, I just injected myself with which is assumed to be adrenaline, and that somehow made my health come back. Call of Duty has regenerating health, which is the most unrealistic thing, because if I got shot, if I sat behind a bus for 2 minutes, I wouldn't be okay. I'd still have been shot. Like, the bullet would still be in me. There's the dude from the mission. Oh, I got shot. On top of that, the supernatural things. Like, look at this gun camouflage. Like, this is not realistic. I have the adrenaline shot as a little charm on my gun, by the way. And it reacts to your gravity. Like, they put in that detail. Like, it reacts to realistic gravity. Also, if I shoot, I feel like, so you can see bullets coming out of my gun, and I think, yeah, they land on the ground. Yeah, they do land on the ground. Oh no, those are cigarette butts. Yeah, so they do land on the ground, but they quickly disappear, probably for performance reasons. You can hear them hitting the floor. And I can do these, like, supernatural kind of things. The amount of endurance it takes for a person to do these, like, feats of, like, athleticism, jumping on top of cars, jumping off, sliding on the ground. Like, dude does not get, like, asphalt burn. Jumping from great heights. I know there's a building in here that if I jump off the roof, I will get, like, you can hear a crunch and hear your legs crack, but you just shrug it off. Yep, like that. I don't think my legs crack because I have a specific perk on tracker and double time. There's also attachments and perks you can get for your gun that let you reload faster, because The gunsmith is a feature that they were marketing for this game, where you like I mentioned previously, actually in another, I think in another recording. I'm not sure if that recording was nixed or not. Nixed, lost. Um, like the weapons in the campaign are randomized based on like the gunsmith. Based on the Can we just lose this match, please? On your feet, like it's military jargon that they use to push you. And the allegiances photo was a skull with a snake through it. Like, it's edgy, it's gross. So the gunsmith was supposed to, gunsmith is a term for somebody who like builds their guns in a really cool way that's super aesthetic pleasing, and you know, like craftsmanship and whatnot. It's an enthusiast term, and they basically allow you. Let me get into the gunsmith. So yeah, gunsmith for this AUG, you could literally change the muzzles, change the barrels. It's still rendering because it takes a second. These models are high polygon, high quality, so they take a second. Laser sights, an incredible amount of optics. These aren't real optics, I would assume. Like, none of these are named brands. Call of Duty, I don't think, pays the licenses for real gun names anymore. And unless, can I mute this guy? But there's someone with a keyboard and mouse in this lobby. Yeah, you can play with PC players now. They don't pay the licensing fees for these guns anymore, so they use the military designations if they can, but if not, like fake names, Striker 45, things of that nature. Instead of the FAMAS, is the FR 556. The fact that they paid these gun companies to use their depictions, that might have been a response to the rise in public mass shootings. On it, like, I genuinely believe this. Activision didn't release Modern Warfare 2 remastered. They sat on it for an extra year or 2 years because Sandy Hook happened, and that game specifically features a mass shooting in an airport that you can take part in, or your player is at least complicit in it. Let me try to quickscope this match. And they didn't sell it because of, you know, the mass shootings that were happening, and they thought it was totally bad. Not because they had their moral goods, but because they knew it would hinder their sales. So I'm going to be doing this thing called quickscoping, which is a... Oh, he quickscoped me. Which is this term for quickly aiming down sights with a sniper rifle and shooting people, because somehow these characters are able to have steady hands that much. It's not realistic. It's very gamey. And I'm using a gun from World War II. I should be wrapping this up soon. What was I mentioning? Oh yeah, so so Activision does have a record. Activision's the publisher of this game, if you didn't know. They do have a record of, you know, responding to public situations and controversies and like just terrible events, responding with their products and their software in ways that'll protect their sales. So see, I got a quick scope. His blue tracers set me on fire. That is... Is that realistic? Like, look at the detail put into this map. Like, look, this looks like a real train yard, a real shipping yard, but they still have dudes sprinting, jumping. It's an arena shooter. Call of Duty is an arena shooter, no matter how else they try to put it. It's not realistic. They still have dudes shooting guns that spit blue fire that costs like $10 to get. Either through a battle pass, which is $10 is usually the price of the battle pass, either through a battle pass or just a direct skin. Fortnite popularized the trend of $20 skins, and apparently it's okay now. Look at this gap. This gap is... I wouldn't be able to jump it. I'm sure most people wouldn't be able to jump it. But the operator could easily. So a lot of games, not a lot of games, but a decent amount of games. Like Halo does like the red versus blue team thing. I know other shooters have made it so that you're always playing as the good guys in the multiplayer, and the enemy team always looks like the bad guys, even though on their end it's flip-flopped. Call of Duty doesn't do that by actively like selling. That was a mine, by the way. Something really does rub me the wrong way of maps that visibly take place in countries that look like Afghanistan or like Iraq, things like that. Missions that take place in maps that look like they take place in those countries. Multiplayer matches that look like they take place in those countries where there are mines all over the place, because I know those countries, like places in Afghanistan, like you can't go because it's implied that there's still like dummy explosives there that like are still in the grounds, and like farmers can like literally die because they'd be plowing their fields and an old mine is there. I mean, or a new mine, because fighting still happens there. Also, I'm sorry if any of these names are inappropriate. This Call of Duty was, I think, the first Call of Duty that lets you make an Activision account, which also lets you like choose your name. So a lot of people choose inappropriate names because they're just able to for free now. Usually if someone chose an inappropriate name, it would either be banned immediately or taken by someone else. Now everyone can have an inappropriate name. I've reported a lot, but like I still see a lot of just racial slurs, unsurprisingly. Anything else that I wanted to mention? Yeah, so they sell these weapon blueprints, and they all have these edgy names. Like, do I have any of them? M91, like Dusk. Like they personify these guns by giving them a cool edgy name, and the fact that they outright personify a gun, it feels so weird, especially given how guns are seen in real life. This is the Piercer. What is this? The Berliner. Berliner? Ich bin ein... That's a reference to JFK. That's a JFK quote. Ich bin ein Berliner. He said that at a German speech, and he meant to say I'm a Berliner. I'm from Berlin, but apparently a Berliner is a kind of donut. So he said I'm a donut. And I mean, this is a smaller gun. I guess it's supposed to reflect the pastry. God. Yeah, they sell these like edgy names for their weapons, and it's like. So weird. So Call of Duty has historically, is there anyone in here? Recently been giving, in other games, like your player skin dictated your powers, like you'd be able to call in some form of powers, whether it be like a lightning gun, being able to see people through walls, because a lot of the games took place in the future, and their excuse was future technology for that. They at least thematically try to make these powers make sense. But, now, some of them are things just like being able to pull like an ammo bag out of your butt. like where did it come from? Like, why is that on a cooldown timer? It's not realistic. Other things are making your footsteps silent. I don't understand why I have to wait to walk quietly. So this is a riot shield. You can get a riot shield in multiplayer and it stops every single bullet. I just took gunfire from a assault like VTOL military jet, and it was fine. And I'm pretty sure that's a jet of like American origin that either team can call, just because aesthetic. That's a chopper gunner. God, and it has the similar screen. I think I mentioned it in one of the streams I did, like the black and white infrared screen. It's in the multiplayer too. The very controversial death from above-esque, gunship sequences. It's a kill streak. You can call it in, and it was a selling point in other Call of Duties that like, oh, now you can fly this in the multiplayer. And I just got demolished by it. God, I think that's it. If there's anything else, I'll probably throw it in some documentation if I forgot it. I might have talked about some more in the first time I did this, but. I can't really think of anything else. I know this is more freeform, just because I wanted to talk about the tone of the multiplayer, and I appreciate you for watching this because it wasn't really that academic. Yeah. Also, you notice like if you kill somebody, you get these edgy kind of tones, revenge, one shot, one kill. All these like chimes go off, these bings, like. It's supposed to like, I'm sure it was scientifically formatted to hit certain parts of your brain in a certain way. Like a nice little ding sound, the hit marker ding sound. like hearing a chime when you get like a specific award for getting a kill. I'm sure it was specifically made to like hit you in a way to make you want more of it. It's a satisfying sound. It goes into game design, you know, having satisfying sound effects and continuously rewarding you. The Coalition's icon looks like the American like eagle with stars and everything. It just looks like that. By the way, like you see all those terms that pop up and the hit markers and the chimes, like they gamify killing people. And yes, this is a video game. Like it's supposed to do that, but it just feels like tonally, knowing that Clean House, that mission is in the same game, that you could run around with a gun that has like kawaii aesthetics, like pink, like a pink gun with an anime body pillow on it. It's in the same game as those two, where you can still shoot shirtless Russian men or terrorists, or be a shirtless Russian man or a Middle Eastern terrorist with that gun. It's ridiculous. It is literally ridiculous. Also, this game is free now. I'm sure a lot of the aesthetics were influenced by games like Fortnite, which are marketed towards kids. Fortnite specifically, because Fortnite is, while it does feature realistic looking guns, there's no blood, there's no death. People are just teleported out when they die. It takes aesthetic cues from that game, where those colorful skins sell a lot. So obviously Activision is going to put colorful skins in their game. It's just tonally all over the place. I just realized the bottom right corner has said Fart Boss started playing Modern Warfare. I think I'm gonna call it a day. Yeah. Thank you for watching.